Hello, Dale Hawthorne here. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be primarily for worship leaders as far as the application goes, but I think maybe we need to make this known to others. I was recently listening to Gavin Ortland, and he made the point that a lot of churches have dissolved into what he called being a performance, the singing portion, and a TED Talk, the preaching performance. Yeah, preaching performance. So if you're up in front of a congregation, whether you're ministering the word or leading them in worship, which is ministering the word in a different way, you're there to be a leader and a servant. You're not there to be a performer or an intention getter. And I would hope that we would see a lot more pushback against the performance, against the TED Talk mentality, which he spoke about. And apparently, Gavin Ortland had some is mentioned that there are a lot of other people looking at this too. You're not there to be a performer. You should be having whatever music you have with the best offering you can for God, just simply because it's a part of your life, giving it off over to Him. Not to be an attention getter, because um, frankly, you should be ministering the same, whether you're preaching or leading, singing, whatever, whether the people are blind or not. So you're not there to get attention. You're not there to get practice so you can fulfill some sort of narcissistic fantasy of being some great performer like Whitney Houston, who started out in the church, or so on. But we'll get into the servanthood aspect in a moment now. But please click like and subscribe, and please share this if you think it's been helpful. And look for other videos on my channel that you might find to be interesting and helpful. So, servanthood, we learned that from Jesus. If you're up there to represent Jesus, this is what you need to know. And this comes for pastors, especially if you're in a position of being any type of authority in the church, an elder. But talking about being a servant, our lives should be expressions of Jesus serving others through us. Matthew 20:25 through 28 talks about this. I've preached on the parallel to from Luke also, but this right here, but Jesus called to him, speaking about the um, James and John and the others, and you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and the great ones exercise authority over them. If you're a leader in the church, in other words, it's not about power. It's not about exercising your authority. It's not a power trip. Jesus says immediately, "It shall not be so among you, but whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be your slave, even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So I think we need to see a lot more pushback against the performance, against the TED Talk mentality. It seems to be a fashion over. There's people who've been, even in the Gospel Coalition, who've been pushing back to say we need more expository teaching. I think we need to see more servanthood also in the choice of songs and performance. It's not about a performance. It's not about showing the latest thing which has come out, the latest song. So there's a place, I think, that your servanthood would start. If you're a worship leader, learn the favorite long and custom songs of the congregation. Any congregation that's been around for more than 1 year is going to have a lot of songs which they're used to, which speak to their hearts, which you may know nothing about. You may never have sung yourself. But learn them and sing them often. Make the more recent stuff which has just come out a much lesser part of the song choices for Sunday. I can remember seeing a worship team years ago people were just standing around looking during the choice of the songs. They didn't know them until the congregation was treated to a hymn which they knew and loved. And the people of that worship team were surprised by the wall of sound which came to them from people singing from their hearts because they knew what the song was about. So it does take some time when you're learning the words of a song to relate it to your Christian experience. It does take time to see whether it's biblical. It does take time to get used to the melody, and the long accustomed songs are usually those which are dear to the heart of the congregation. So if you're a worship leader, learn them. Learn them. Surveys, whatever, talk to people, listen to them. Listen to the people who've been with the congregation for a long time, or those who learn the songs that they're favorites, their own custom. If they're a song which is theologically suspect, well, work with them to understand what's correct, because that would be a part of worship leader too, and eldership too, correcting bad theology in our songs. And there's been a lot over the years. The most common hymns, though, usually have pretty good theology. Usually, if you're a worship leader and you don't have a book like Knowing God or a systematic theology, or you don't know theology, there's a part of your education which needs to be supplemented. If you don't even have a hymnal for yourself, you can't see what the church has been singing for 2,000 years. And even some of the hymnals which have been recently reprinted have usually a couple of hymns that have been around for maybe 1800 to 1600 years, translated in English. So, and if you have a dislike of hymns, figure out where that came from. Was it just fashion? You heard someone else saying, I don't like hymns. There can be a reflective generational dislike for hymns and for other songs because you heard someone else talking about that. The hymns and other songs too. There are a lot of songs that have been around since the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s even, which we may call golden oldies. They're not that old, but they may have good songs and scripture songs too. If a song is reflecting scripture, that's a song which, or putting scripture, that's a song which we may want to put in more. Maybe we don't make it a huge part, but maybe like a song like He is Lord, which is coming from Philippians, some other scripture songs perhaps. Some songs may need to be updated, but I think your servanthood comes from putting your personal preferences on the back burner, learning how God may actually have been speaking providentially to the congregation through years, to people's lives, through the songs that have been sung, the songs which minister to them, learning them, and maybe starting out singing them in spite of yourself, in spite of your prejudice against them. Yeah, prejudice. Yeah, I use that word. You come with prejudgment because the song has a melody or some words, those these and thous. Well, anytime you see thee and thou, just think of the word you, right? So learn them, sing them in spite of themselves. Maybe you'll find and grow to like them after all. I can remember back in seminary, we were talking about some of the hymns of the favorite hymns of the professors and those that ministered to them over the years. Maybe, and I paid some attention. I had myself a personal hymnal for all of these years. I took a look at them, learned to sing them myself, and found a lot of songs with the deep theology, which speak to Christian experience, do take some time to grow on people. And singing them a new song which they flies over their heads, which they don't have a chance, that really doesn't give them a chance very often to really reflect on what that song says. It may simply be a reflection of the experience of someone who's not spent very much time with the Lord and really needs someone who's been around with the Lord a bit longer to look at the wordings there, the experience there, and maybe grow some get some depth on that, so on. But that's all I'm going to say on this. Be a servant, and how you serve up there to serve others, and how you choose the songs for each week. So, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention.